Hello everyone, Jeremy from Soulbound Studios here, and welcome to the first episode of Inside Chronicles of Elyria. It's been a while since we last updated you on the progress of the game, and so these videos, along with all new development blog updates that are coming up, are to give you an inside look into what's been going on and what's coming in the near future. But before we get into the details of the current state of development and what's coming up, I do want to address some key concerns and issues that have arisen this year. 2020 has been an exceedingly difficult year for everyone, and Soulbound Studios is no exception. The global pandemic and lower than anticipated participation in Settlers of Elyria hit us hard and caused a lot of problems. Thankfully, we're moving forward from those issues, and I've been working to continue the development of the game behind the scenes. Now, I know that in the past we've missed milestones, and sometimes our communication has not been clear, and as a result, many of you have felt let down by the studio. We're addressing some of these issues now, taking steps to solve them so we can restore your faith in the project. No doubt some of you have heard about our legal struggles. This is the main reason why we've not put out many updates since the layoffs and issues that arose during the last 8 months. I want to make it clear that I do hear your frustrations and concerns. For example, I know there's been a lot of concern over how our revenue is used. An independent auditor reviewed our books and found that all funds were properly spent on game development. I'm telling you this to clear up any misconception that has arisen that crowdfunded money was wasted or spent incorrectly. It wasn't. Period. Another big issue was the messaging around the layoffs in the company back in March, and our understanding of what options we had moving forward. Saying I was shuttering Chronicles of Elyria was a mistake, and it's something that I wrote a full blog post about to help people understand the reason why I said that at the time. But to summarize, it was badly worded, didn't reflect the game's status, and was written during an emotional period. Admittedly, it could have been handled far, far better. What does this all mean for Chronicles of Elyria's development? Well, quite a few things. First and foremost, the game is still under active development, and we are continuing to develop with a much smaller team. Before we had to release our employees, a lot of work was done in the areas of design, world building, and content creation, though I appreciate much of it hasn't been shown. In short, if you were concerned or disappointed that development had ceased, it hasn't. We're pushing on to deliver the amazing experience we promised. Of course, I'm aware people have questions about our progress and the state of development, so I wanted to take a moment to talk about what we've worked on over the last 4 years, and while it may feel there hasn't been a huge amount shown, there's plenty of reasons for this. Code isn't particularly exciting to look at. Much of the content wasn't yet at a point where it was ready for public consumption, and some stuff we simply held back so we didn't spoil different parts of the game. That said, it's important for me to make clearer some of what we've undertaken behind the scenes up until now. First and most importantly, we built the first version of our scalable microservice-based architecture, designed to allow hundreds of thousands of players in a single world. The first iteration of our platform was used to implement our gameplay services, as well as our other platform services, such as the gateway, database and health services, a service for streaming both developer and player-created assets, and a separate service for streaming terrain to the player, since the world is too large to provide as a single client download. As far back as 2017, we started showing videos of our backend being simultaneously connected to by a diverse set of game clients, each requiring a different set of assets. This was not only essential for our approach to development, but also showcased the flexibility of our backend and its ability to cater to different clients. Speaking of different clients, over the years we've developed multiple different game clients, ranging from a text-based MUD client all the way to our high-fidelity, high-definition release client. Each client was valuable in its own sake as it provided learning opportunities, as well as validation for one or more of the features of Chronicles of Elyria. The release client in particular had quite a bit of development done on it, because it represents the visual art style of CoE and requires features and functionality to support both the dynamic nature of Elyria's world and characters, as well as its staggering size. These features included the first iteration of our client-side prediction, terrain streaming, dynamic weather, custom animation system, and our custom rig and skin system that allows for a single skeleton and material to support the entire range of sizes, proportions, and skin types of all the various tribes. In addition to the clients and server, we spent significant time over the last 4 years designing and implementing gameplay mechanics and features across nearly half the advertised feature areas of Chronicles of Elyria. To give you a sense of what that means, we've worked on features that fall into the areas of account management, character selection and creation, access restriction, animal and NPC AI, survival mechanics, combat, communication, equipment and inventory, items and containers, identities, knowledge and gossip, locomotion, NPC interaction, physics and collision, skills, dynamic storytelling, transportation, and world interaction. That's a lot of work. But all that said, a game like CoE isn't a game without a world in which to explore and discover. To that end, we wrote the systems and tools that allowed us to procedurally generate 4 unique worlds, each with a starting continent that's, well, enormous. For every parcel of land, we determined the soil type, the natural resources, and the survivability based on the amount of food that exists on that parcel and the surrounding area. At the geopolitical level, we created in some cases over 5,000 procedurally generated settlements, each a part of a county, duchy, and kingdom. Each settlement has a starting population of NPCs that are divided up by tribe and profession, a wealth rating based on the amount of resources available to, and of course, we also know within some degree of accuracy the buildings that exist in each settlement. Finally, we also spent the last few years creating the assets necessary to populate the 4 different worlds. These range from simple items that can be worn or held, such as tools, equipment, and weapons, to consumables such as vegetables and fruit, to crafting items such as bottles, jars, and other containers. We also built structural and decor items like fencing and furniture. And finally, we can't forget the endearing animals and livestock that roam the lands like the dangerous Canis rabbit or the adorable foxalot. Unfortunately, not everything over the last 4 years has gone according to plan. And as the CEO of Soulbound, I'm ultimately accountable for our poor communication and the reliability and performance issues that accompanied our milestones. There have been several factors that have slowed down development, including being understaffed in the engineering department, but regardless of these hurdles, we're continuing to work on delivering the game we all want to see made. Many of the game systems I mentioned earlier are a lot further along than most people realize, and I'm working directly to continue development and get things in your hands as soon as possible. To that end, I have news that will excite you and give all backers something to look forward to in the coming months. I've been listening to the community's feedback, and we've learned a lot of lessons. I wanted to take this opportunity to reassure you that moving forward, we do have a path to get Chronicles of Elyria into your hands, and it'll involve moving some of the deliverables to get you what you want sooner, specifically by focusing on what's most important to you. While I've committed to pushing forward no matter the challenges ahead of us, it won't happen overnight, and there's a lot of work I need to do so that the framework is right. That said, I'm incredibly positive about the future of Chronicles of Elyria, even with the challenges we face. I want to thank all of our backers and the members of the community for their touching support during these past few years. You've inspired us all. Now, I appreciate I'm only touching the surface of all the questions you likely have, but I'm working hard to put things right. Actions speak louder than words, and I want to be held to account on that basis going forwards. If you've got questions you'd like me to address in upcoming or future videos, drop me an email at insidecoe@soulboundstudios.com. In the meantime, I've updated the FAQ with answers to some of your more common questions, and videos 2 and 3 will go into greater depth on what we've been working on and what's coming up in 2021. Again, thank you for taking this journey with me. In the next several months, you'll get to see a closer look at what we've been working on and the great things we're creating. Pledged to the continued development of the Soulborn engine and the Chronicles of Elyria, this is Jeremy Walsh from Soulbound Studios. We'll see you in the next episode of Inside Chronicles of Elyria.